Every great civilization believes it will last forever. History, however, has other plans. Today, we look at the inevitable. Look at Rome. For centuries, it was the center of the known world, its power absolute and its reach undisputed. But eventually, the marble cracked and the legions stopped marching. The end was not a single event, but a slow erosion. What are the common threads that bind the fall of the Han, the Abbasids, and the Soviets? Let's analyze the first major factor: economic overextension. Empires are expensive. Maintaining vast borders and massive bureaucracies requires a constant stream of wealth. Continuous warfare, once a source of plunder, eventually becomes a drain that no treasury can sustain. When the money runs out, empires turn to the same desperate measure: debasing their currency. Rome did it. The Ming did it. As the silver content in coins drops, prices skyrocket. The middle class is wiped out, and the social contract begins to fray. High taxes follow, stifling innovation and driving the citizenry to despair or revolt. When an empire relies on slave labor or tradition rather than innovation, it loses its competitive edge. Whether it's wood, coal, or silver, every empire eventually hits a limit on the energy it can extract from its environment. Combined with the exhaustion of natural resources, the economic engine simply stops providing the power needed to keep the empire moving. Wealth and power eventually breed a different kind of rot: political corruption. The civic virtue that built the empire is replaced by individual greed and short-term thinking. The government grows so large and inefficient that it can no longer respond to crises effectively. It becomes a machine that only serves itself. Without a clear and stable system for transferring power, every leadership change becomes a potential civil war. The ruling elites become disconnected from the reality of their subjects, living in luxury while the foundations crumble. Common identity dissolves into tribalism. People stop identifying with the empire and start identifying with their local group. When justice is seen as a tool for the powerful, the law loses its authority and society resorts to brute force. Society becomes deeply polarized. Trust in institutions vanishes, and the people look for alternatives. Then there is the trap of imperial overstretch. The empire grows so large that it can no longer defend its own borders. The cost of transporting troops and supplies across thousands of miles becomes prohibitive. The military, once a proud and effective force, becomes exhausted, underpaid, and increasingly reliant on foreign mercenaries. These mercenaries often have no loyalty to the state, and in times of crisis, they may turn against the very hand that feeds them. When the army feels neglected by the politicians, it often decides to take matters into its own hands. The roads and aqueducts that once united the realm fall into disrepair, further isolating distant provinces. Small border incursions, once easily repelled, begin to succeed. The psychological aura of invincibility is shattered. External forces are always watching for weakness. New rivals emerge, ready to fill the power vacuum. Migratory pressures driven by famine or conflict elsewhere push barbarian groups into imperial territory. Nature, too, plays a role. Climate shifts can destroy the agricultural base that feeds the cities and the armies. Droughts and crop failures lead to mass starvation, further destabilizing an already fragile political system. Plagues and pandemics can wipe out significant portions of the population, leading to a collapse of labor and tax revenue. A sense of nihilism and fatigue pervades the culture. The creative energy that once drove the empire forward simply evaporates. Everything seems fine until it isn't. Complex systems often collapse suddenly, rather than fading away. When these external and environmental pressures hit a system already weakened from within, the collapse accelerates. For Rome, it was the Visigoths sacking the city in 410 AD, a shockwave that echoed across history. The Mongol Empire splintered because it simply became too large and diverse to manage effectively. The Ottoman Empire collapsed under the weight of outdated institutions and the unstoppable rise of nationalism. Even the British Empire, after 2 world wars, found the cost of maintaining its global colonies unsustainable. Every empire believes it is the exception, but rising debt and polarization are patterns history never forgets. Rising debt, political polarization, and overextended militaries. Do these warning signs sound familiar to us today? Collapse is often the price of complexity. As systems become more intricate, they also become more vulnerable. Nations that survive are those that can adapt, decentralize, and maintain the trust of their people. The fall of an empire is not just an ending. It is often the beginning of something new. From the ashes, the future is laid. While the transition can be dark, it also clears the way for different forms of human organization. The desire for power remains constant, but the structures we build to hold it are always temporary. History is not a straight line, but a circle. To understand our future, we must look at the debris of our past. Empires fall, but the human story continues. The question is, what will we build next? Why do empires always collapse? Because they are human constructs, and nothing human is immortal. Thank you for watching.